A chemist who can make any magical drink in the world? Or will he become greedy and misuse his knowledge? Let's find out, as today on Anime Recaps, we will be covering the first 4 episodes of the series Drugstore in Another World. The story revolves around a pharmacist, Kirio Reiji, who creates medications and handles issues in the town of Kalta. He lives with a werewolf named Noera and a ghost named Mina, who works as Reiji's store assistant and housekeeper. Reiji runs Kirio Drugstore. In the following scene, Mr. Alf, the owner of a general store, enters Kirio Drugstore and tastes Reiji's freshly created energy potion, which treats exhaustion and promotes alertness. Since they taste great and have a quick effect, Mr. Alf requests Reiji to allow him to sell the energy potions at his general store. Mr. Alf begs Reiji to help him, or else he will have to close down his store because he's having financial difficulties and his wife is expecting their 5th child. Reluctantly, Reiji agrees to help Mr. Alf and provides him with 25 bottles of potion for a very reasonable cost. After Mr. Alf departs, Mina appreciates Reiji for helping Mr. Alf and assures him that his energy potions will do well in the market. Noera also praises the potion, mentioning that she can't stop drinking them because they're so tasty. Reiji is astounded to receive this much praise for the potion. After a few days, Kalta is filled with the news of Reiji's potions. Numerous people visit Mr. Alf's general store every day to purchase the energy potions, which helps his business flourish. He and his wife are overjoyed to welcome so many new customers to their store. Even more people begin to visit Reiji's pharmacy and wait in line for hours to purchase the potion. One day, a mother-daughter duo arrive at Reiji's store to buy the potion. However, the little daughter insists on returning home since she's exhausted. Reiji apologizes to the little girl for having to wait in a long line, but the girl doesn't stop sobbing. Meanwhile, Noera tickles the girl with her tail, making her laugh. As the daughter plays with Noera, Reiji takes the mother's order and gives her the potions. Even though Noera is uncomfortable with the little girl holding her tail, she stays patient and plays with her. Following their purchase, the mother and daughter exit the store, and Reiji thanks Noera for her assistance. Then they attend to the remaining customers. Later that evening, Mina asks Reiji to go shopping and get groceries for her. Reiji agrees, and he takes Noera with him. However, before heading to the market, the two explore a nearby forest in search of medicinal herbs. Noera is busy gathering the herbs. Reiji looks at her and recalls how he had found her as a wounded wolf and saved her life. After a while, Reiji remembers about the grocery. As he looks at the list, he realizes Mina gave him the wrong note. Just then, Reiji and Noera see a boy named Zero being chased by his angry girlfriend, Ferris, who has a knife. Sensing the danger, Reiji tries to escape the place with Noera, but Zero grabs his jacket and asks for help. Ferris also arrives, and she threatens Zero to face her. Surprisingly, after a while, she calms down as she plays with Noera. Taking the opportunity, Zero starts explaining his predicament to Reiji. He claims that Ferris is excessively possessive about him, and that's why she has trouble falling asleep at night. When she notices a girl near him, she immediately becomes enraged. Despite this, Zero says he still loves Ferris, since she is typically sweet and cute. He believes Ferris is under the influence of some evil, and asks Reiji to assist her in casting out the evil. Zero begs a lot, so Reiji reluctantly agrees. As Ferris plays with Noera, Reiji and Zero observe her from a distance while hiding in a tree. After a while, Reiji sets out for his pharmacy with Noera and invites Zero to pick up the medication there. As soon as the duo returns to the pharmacy, Reiji starts making the medication for Ferris using Ladon flower. It turns out that the flower calms the patient's nerves and relaxes them, reducing their nervousness and irritability. Later that evening, Zero arrives at the pharmacy and takes the medicine with him. Zero returns the following morning to thank Reiji for assisting Ferris in returning to normal. Surprisingly, Ferris seems peaceful and rested when she enters the pharmacy after drinking the Ladon flower tea. Cyril, the son of well-known local landowners, the Alonso family, is pleased with Reiji and offers him a sizable sum of money as payment before leaving the pharmacy with Ferris. In the following scene, Reiji and Noera explore the forest for medicinal herbs, and they come across the utsubo flower, a pungent flower that only animals can smell. Since Reiji is human, he can't smell it, but Noera can. And the smell is so powerful that it even irritates her eyes. Immediately, Reiji makes a botanical deodorant and sprays it on the flower. This relaxes Noera and the pungent smell finally goes away. Back at the pharmacy, Mina proposes that Reiji sell the deodorant. And when they do, it quickly becomes popular among customers as a bathroom deodorant. The following day, Reiji and Noera go to pick up their food order from Rabbit Tavern restaurant so that Mina can take a break from her usual exhausting domestic chores. Once they get there, they come across Dawes, Maz, and Captain Annabelle of the Red Cat Brigade, mercenaries the Lord recruited to guard the town. Maz and Dawes fall to their knees and plead with Reiji to send 5 energy potions to their barracks daily at a discounted rate. They want it for half the price because they are so dependent on the energy potions but are also having severe financial difficulties. Unexpectedly, Reiji offers to give it to them for free in exchange for their help in spreading the word about his innovative detergent in the community. When Captain Annabelle and Rena, the daughter of the restaurant owner, use the detergent, they discover that it functions miraculously. As a result, the Red Cat Brigade agrees to market the detergent. The next morning, just as Noera is about to leave for the delivery, Annabelle shows up at the door to obtain the potions by herself because she is so desperate to drink them. As she leaves the drugstore, she promises to return each morning for the potions. In the following scene, Reiji and Noera go in search of herbs and discover that there aren't that many left. Suddenly, Reiji comes up with an idea after observing the plant seeds scattered on the ground. After a while, Reiji and Noera meet Cyril and ask for a lease of Cyril's field to grow herbs. Since Cyril is grateful to Reiji for helping Ferris, he permits Reiji to utilize his family's fields without charging him a penny. Despite the fertile soil at Alonso's family fields, Cyril says the crops have been damaged due to dogs, wolves, and other animals. Even with the fences, the animals get inside and ruin the crops. In order to solve the problem, Reiji has an idea to use utsubo flowers to use against the animals. He returns to his drugstore and prepares an animal repellent spray that produces an offensive smell to animals and keeps them away from the fields. A few days later, Reiji successfully deters the animals by using the repellent in the fence. Eventually, the repellent spray becomes incredibly famous among the farmers, and Reiji's sales increase. However, he's disappointed that Noera refuses to come near him because of the smell from the spray. One morning, Annabelle arrives at the drugstore as usual to get the potions, but she asks for 10 potions and pays for the extra 5. Meanwhile, Dawes and Maz arrive and ask for Reiji's help. Annabelle explains that some bandits have come to Kalta and people have been injured fighting the bandits to protect the town. Hence, she gives her potions to the injured for their fast recovery. Determined to help the brigade, Reiji starts working on his new product. He creates caption fluid, which severely burns the eyes, by combining caption peppers and the highest proof liquor. After a few days, the brigades use the fluids on the bandits, causing them to flee from Kalta. In the next scene, Rain, a butler serving Lord Casti Fendran Valgus, the ruler of Kalta, arrives at Kirio drugstore searching for Reiji. He has been instructed to invite Reiji to the manor by Lady Flam, the wife of the head of Valgus' family. Later, Reiji visits the mansion with Rain and meets Lady Flam. Insecure about her looks, Lady Flam requests Reiji to make her a rejuvenating ointment within 5 days. The lady is discouraged because she's concerned about the rumors the lords will spread about how old she appears behind her back. Hearing this, Reiji agrees to create a medicine for her that combats the signs of aging. After 4 days of continuous effort, Reiji creates an ointment using fruits and flowers for the lady that prevents moisture from escaping and makes the skin supple. As promised, Reiji delivers the medicine on the 5th day. Because the ointment works almost magically, The queen sends Reiji a thank you note and some royal cookies. The following day, Elaine, Lady Flam's daughter, shows up at Reiji's pharmacy and requests that he create a love potion to make Lord Lards fall in love with her. However, as a love potion only lasts as long as one takes it, and its effect quickly wears off, Reiji offers to create Elaine something else to make her more appealing. With Elaine's approval, Reiji creates Charm Fragrance, a perfume with refreshing fruit smell. Reiji advises Elaine that wearing the right quantity of perfume will raise her status as a lady, but she will also need to work on her demeanor, expression, and attitude. Elaine is happy with the result, and she bids Reiji adieu and departs. After a few days, Elaine returns to Reiji's place again. Because she has come to the conclusion that a man who is frank with her would be her better match, she has decided not to use the perfume to attract Lord Lard. Besides, she favors intelligent men. With her parents' permission, Elaine has come to stay at Reiji's drugstore and learn from him. She also admits to liking Reiji, but also understands that since Reiji is a commoner and she is a noblewoman, their statuses are different and they can't be an ideal fit. For the next 2 days, Elaine works at the pharmacy and learns from Reiji. Additionally, she and Noera grow close and become good friends. Before leaving for her mansion, Elaine gifts a perfume she made with Reiji's assistance to Noera, and in return, Noera gives her a substitute for her fluffy tail. Several days later, the weather starts to get too hot as the temperature continues to rise. While Reiji, Mina, and Noera are exhausted from the heat, Elaine returns to the store and informs Reiji that her father has asked him to create a medicine that brings winter. In order to beat the heat, Reiji uses his Sweetheart cooling gel. As the gel evaporates from the skin, it removes heat and makes people cold. It works when Reiji tries it first. The girls also try it, but soon pass out due to excessive usage of the cream. In the next scene, as Reiji and Noera are gathering herbs in the forest, Noera is attacked by a squirrel. The squirrel falls unconscious immediately, so Reiji gives him anti-poison medication and leaves him there to rest. After a while, when Reiji and Noera head towards home, the squirrel wakes up and watches them as they leave. The following morning, the squirrel shows up at the drugstore with Rokushu nuts as gifts to Reiji for saving its life. Later, Reiji and Noera go to market to get groceries and pick up their lunch from the Rabbit Tavern restaurant. When they arrive at the tavern, they find Fernando, the proprietor of the recently opened nearby restaurant, which serves delectable meat dishes. Fernando wants to buy the tavern. However, the owner of the Rabbit Tavern and his daughter, Rina, become enraged and refuse the offer. It turns out that Fernando is trying to buy out all his competitors so that he can rule the culinary world. After Fernando leaves the restaurant, Rina expresses her sadness and worries about her restaurant. When Noera gives some Rokushu nuts to cheer Rina up, the owner recognizes the nuts and informs Reiji that it's a tough ingredient to find and cook with because of its excellent quality. It is said that a great royal chef once succeeded in making a sauce out of it. Unfortunately, he passed away from eating too much sauce because it was so delicious. Hearing this, Reiji takes charge to save the restaurant and decides to make their own Rokushu sauce. Since Noera has already eaten all the nuts, they go to the forest to find the squirrel, but fail. Surprisingly, when Reiji and Noera eventually get home, the squirrel knocks on the door with loads of Rokushu nuts. Reiji expresses his gratitude to the squirrel and immediately starts his experiment to prepare the Rokushu sauce, which has an acidic, refreshing flavor and an exquisite, refined aroma. In no time, the Rabbit Tavern begins to serve the Rokushu sauce with Reiji's assistance. Surprisingly, their business thrives, as large throngs of customers attend and wait in line for the sauce. Fernando is drawn to the restaurant by the sauce's potent aroma, and he also waits in line to taste it. He gets his turn after an hour and has a meal with the utterly excellent sauce. He is spellbound by the divine flavor. Every mouthful distributes a potent perfume that is enticing and makes people desire more and more of it. Additionally, a plate only costs 500 yen. Fernando becomes irate over this and walks away after paying. He asks Reiji if he created the sauce and promises to pay 500,000 yen for each serving. Although Fernando raises the price repeatedly, Reiji still declines the offer. Reiji claims that not everyone is driven by greed and departs the scene with Noera. One fine day, Ferris arrives at Reiji's pharmacy with a request to make an aphrodisiac for Cyril so that she can have Cyril's baby. Since Ferris believes that Cyril doesn't show much interest in her and spends too much time outside, she wants Reiji to make a medicine that brings Cyril close to her. On Ferris's request, Reiji makes a drink named Emotional Drive, a medicine that strengthens emotions. Unknowingly drinking it, Mina experiences an emotional outburst with Reiji. She begins to feel drawn to him physically. As Reiji tries to stop Mina, Annabelle arrives at the pharmacy, and Noera also offers the drink to Annabelle. Consequently, Annabelle develops feelings for Reiji. Both girls are completely out of control with their feelings for Reiji. When Reiji asks Noera to pass him the antidote, she drops the bottles, and they shatter. The next morning, Mina is guilty about her actions from the previous night. But thankfully, nothing wrong happened as Reiji was able to give the antidote to her and Annabelle and stop them. Meanwhile, Cyril arrives at the store and Reiji gives him the Emotional Drive drink. As soon as he drinks it, he is filled with love and emotions. A few days later, as Reiji exits the Rabbit Tavern, he observes Cyril and Ferris walking together, obviously madly in love. Reiji smiles, glad to see his customers satisfied.